thanks for tuning in, guys. This is just an opportunity for us to explore a few wider issues that I have become increasingly concerned about within our clinic. We see young women right the way through to elderly ladies and men. And I've noticed that there's been a bit of a lack of understanding in a lot of the patients in general with respect to hormones and their how their hormones can be impacting. And I'm not a specialist in this area, and I have had the absolute pleasure of recently being reintroduced to a really, really fantastic colleague and friend who is a GP and has a specialist interest in menopause care, Dr. Naomi Potter. She's a long-standing friend. We've known each other for probably about 15 years. Yeah, we're both quite old. And she's had a wealth of experience in training under some really sort of influential people in menopause care. Nick Panney, former chair of the British Menopause Society, and she's extremely passionate about providing holistic care for women in midlife, and has a deep passion with making sure that things are done the right way, which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to reach out to Naomi and see if we could offer a great sort of combined service where we were able to offer our ladies that may be experiencing menopause symptoms, and that includes ladies that have unfortunately undergone a premature menopause, and also look at potentially how some of the wider issues of hormonal treatments may help support some of these ladies, and how some of these hormonal changes can impact on their health, their well-being, their psychological state, but also their skin, and whether we can provide measures of support that will help. And Naomi has kindly agreed to spend some of her time with me going through some of these issues and answering some really important questions. We've already had quite a few that have come through already from some of you who've really responded well to our previous Instagram posts. So thank you so much for engaging already, and thank you so much to Naomi for agreeing to be on board with this, because I think it's a really, really important issue, and I think there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of empty areas of understanding, and I think this is going to be something that will really help going forward.
Wow, that was great.
Fine. Okay, so I think one of the first things I should ask really in terms of some of my patients that have been having queries about what might be going on with them hormonally. I mean, can you just give a brief overview, Naomi, about what happens with female hormones over lifetime, and just your opinion about what you think some of the changes might be due to?
Yeah, so women are different to men in that their hormones are constantly fluctuating. So as soon as you hit your teenage years, you've got a constant cycle going on where estrogen levels go up, progesterone levels go up, and that fluctuation in itself can cause skin changes. Yeah. And then pregnancy affects the skin. Often women report the best skin of their lives during pregnancy. After pregnancy, things can change. And then certainly when you hit the perimenopause and menopause, women often notice changes that they've never experienced before.
Okay.
So rather than just kind of oiliness or spots or dryness, it can be aging. That's what women tend to report the most, is that it's a rather than a kind of very slow, steady change in their skin, it can be a much more rapid decline. In their perception of their skin quality. And it's things like a loss of a kind of youthful dewiness, fine lines appearing, a loss of the kind of cheek apples, and face kind of just feeling, they often say my face is just sliding down.
Yes.
And it's the decline in estrogen that causes that. The skin tissues, just like tissues throughout our body, have got estrogen receptors, and so when they haven't got that estrogen stimulating those receptors, you end up with the inevitable kind of aging changes.
We should probably also, as well, actually explain what menopause is, because there will be some people out there that don't necessarily understand what the definition of menopause is, and what you might expect.
So the menopause is really when your periods stop and you are considered to be postmenopausal, when you have gone for a year without having had a period.
Okay.
But perimenopause can last a long time. It's really, rather than it being a line in the sand, what I tend to explain to my patients is that they're at the end, when you're late 30s, early 40s, and then definitely when you're kind of into your mid 40s, there is just a decline, a slow decline in the amount of hormones that your ovary produces, the estrogen that your ovary produces. And even though it's fluctuating, it tends to be on a kind of downhill trajectory. And that is what the perimenopause is, and it's the symptoms that result in that lowering estrogen that can affect the whole body.
So there's actually been a few of my patients who have made contact through personal DMs. I did suggest that if there was anybody with any sensitive issues, they might want to DM me, and a few of them had come back with concerns about sort of premature menopause symptoms. So if somebody is getting, some of them have had symptoms in their sort of late 20s, which is just awful, and I wonder whether your advice to them would be different to somebody who was going through it a bit later in life.
I mean, certainly, if you're going through the menopause in your late 20s, early 30s, or even all the way up to your 40s, then the advice is that you need to have estrogen replacement therapy in order to protect your bones and your heart and your brain. Because otherwise you get that premature acceleration of things like osteoporosis, cardiovascular disease, strokes. So it's really, really important. If you've got a menopause in your late 20s, then you should be investigated for an underlying cause.
Okay, thank you. That's really important, because one of the things that we want to stress as part of this is that we don't just want people to sort of hide away and self-diagnose, or even just take any advice that we're giving here as sort of hard and fast rules, because everybody will be different, and it's really important to get additional advice through a doctor, through another consultation, specific to you, because everybody's needs will be different. And like I'd said previously, there are potentially other conditions that might be interacting, that might be giving people symptoms that they have. So it's really important to get that investigated.
Definitely. If you're under the age of 40 and you think that you have got a menopausal symptoms, it's really, really important that you go to your GP and really press them into investigating you, and don't be dismissed by "you are too young for the menopause," because that is not the case.
Okay.
No one's too young for menopause. So. No. The younger you are, the more important it is that it is identified and treated.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's really useful. Thank you very much. Lots of useful gems there.